Hi, and welcome to the Gabby and Courtney Show, starring Gabby and Courtney. Today we'll be discussing informed consent.
Today we will be discussing case number 1. A 64-year-old woman is hospitalized and needs a feeding tube. Physicians ask the patient in the morning and she agrees. However, in the evening the patient becomes disoriented and confused about her decision and ends up not getting the feeding tube. The next morning the patient is lucid and the physicians ask her again about the feeding tube. The patient is unable to recall what she said the evening before, so she agrees to the procedure again.
Conditions of informed consent. 1. The patient is competent. 2. Adequate information is disclosed to the patient. 3. The patient understands the information. 4. The patient decides freely. 5. The patient consents to the treatment.
Our thesis is the woman's final agreement to the procedure should not be considered informed consent.
According to Faden and Beauchamp, informed consent consists of both the submission and agreement to the physician's procedure. Also, that informed consent requires autonomous actions from the patient that authorizes the following actions.
Number 1, the patient's final agreement to the procedure should not be considered informed consent. Number 2, the patient is unable to recall her decision, therefore she is not competent, which means she is unable to meet the conditions of informed consent.
Number 3, without her being competent, it would mean she is unable to understand the information given to her, and she is unable to decide freely, therefore she is unable to consent to the treatment. Number 4, even though the patient is lucid and competent in the morning and gives confirmation to the procedure, her decision changed in the evening.
Number 5, a person who is not competent cannot give informed consent. Instead, it is the physician's duty to inform the proxy. Therefore, the proxy can make the decisions for the patient. By informing the proxy, the physician is looking out for the patient's best interest. Number 6, or if the patient doesn't have a proxy/family member to make decisions for her, then it is the physician's duty to override the patient's autonomy. Therefore, the patient can receive the proper treatment.
In conclusion, since the patient is unable to meet the conditions of informed consent, she is not able to give consent to the feeding tubes. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on our social medias. That will be linked below in the description box. Bye.